1, 2, 3. Everybody, it's Mr. Cruz, your band and orchestra teacher. In this video, I'm going to explain how to perform a 1-octave chromatic scale on the alto saxophone starting on low G. This video will also work for students playing the baritone saxophone, so feel free to join us and learn everything that I'm talking about here. You should also have the scale handout that I passed out. Because we're going to be reading chromatic scale number 4 from that handout. Now, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, or you don't have the handout, or you're a student from another school or another saxophone student out there somewhere in the world, you can get that handout from halebands.org. That's HALEBANDS.org. I left a link in the description. Once you're on that website, you'll see a search bar in the upper portion of the homepage. Just type in chromatic scale and then find the scale sheet for the alto saxophone or baritone saxophone. Both of them will work. Before I continue on with the video, I highly recommend you watch my first video about the chromatic scale. In that video, I go over how the chromatic scale is a series of half steps in ascending and descending order. I also talk about the importance of and the concept of the enharmonic equivalence. That's where you can have 2 different spellings for one pitch. And I use a piano keyboard as a visual guide to help you with that and help you understand how the chromatic scale is laid out. So if you've already watched that first video and you're eager to get going on your instrument and playing the chromatic scale, then let's push forward on this. So the chromatic scale is basically every single note on your instrument played in ascending and descending order in half steps. So another way I like to describe the chromatic scale is basically playing all the notes that you didn't play when you were playing a major scale. So if you play a major scale on the saxophone, like we'll take your G major scale. Okay, you take your G major scale. In between all those notes was another note. Okay, now there's an exception to that rule, but in between all those notes was another note. For example, when I was playing G and A, okay, in between G and A was another note, and that's G sharp. Okay, so between G and A is G sharp. When I was playing A and B, A to B, in between A and B was A sharp. Okay, so there are notes in between, and when you play all those notes in between, when you play all those notes that you didn't play from your major scale, okay, and you put them all in, you have a chromatic scale. So what I want to do first is I want to go over all the notes in the G major scale, just to show you that, these are the notes that you need to know first, and these are the notes you should have been able to play first to begin with. So in your G major scale, we have G, 1, 2, 3, A, 1, 2, B, first finger only, C, middle finger only, the C fingering, then D, that's octave key, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, E, octave key, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, F sharp, octave key, 1, 2, 3, and a middle finger here, and then high G, octave key, 1, 2, 3. So you should already know how to play a G major scale on your alto saxophone. Now, what about all the notes in between? Okay, well, that's what we're here for. So, what you already know that between G and A is G sharp. So after G is G sharp. That's 1, 2, 3, and this key right here. So you have a series of pinky keys right here with your left pinky. Okay, G sharp is the topmost key of that set, and I like to explain it as the pinky key closest to your ring finger for your left hand. So G, G sharp, A. You already know what A is. 1, 2. After A is A sharp. Okay, and the way you need to play A sharp on the alto saxophone is 1, 2, bottom side. Okay, I'm going to say that again. A sharp is 1, 2, bottom side. Okay, that's A sharp. After A sharp is B. You already know what that is. After B is C. You should know that already. After C is C sharp. That's open C sharp is what I like to call it, because you don't press any buttons down or fingers. After C sharp is D. You already know what D is. After D is D sharp. D sharp, all you got to do is play D and throw in this pinky key closest to your ring finger in the right hand. So it's octave key, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the pinky key over here. After D sharp is E. You already know what E is. After E is F. F natural. After F, F is 1, 2, octave key, 1, 2, 3, and 1. After F is F sharp. The best way to play F sharp on a chromatic scale is octave key, 1, 2, 3, 1, and this key right here. This key right here that I'm pressing with my ring finger. Okay, that's your side F sharp key, or alternate F sharp. Other professors and teachers will say fork F sharp. Which is fine. Okay, so F sharp is 1, 2, 3, 1, like F natural, plus this key right here. When you play that, there's a button that should open above around your thumb hook or thumb rest. Okay, so that's the one that you should be pressing. That's F sharp, and after F sharp is G. Okay, I'm going to pause right here because there are some fingerings that are not okay to use when playing saxophone. A lot of people use it. I used to do it, and it was a really bad habit for me to break. But that's going from A sharp to B. A sharp to B. What a lot of students do is they play A sharp. They play the bis A sharp like this, and then they slide out of it like this. Students will do that, going from B to B flat, or A sharp to B, or B flat to B. This is not okay. This is not a recommended technique. Okay, I remember when I was in college, my saxophone professor was like, you got to stop that. Okay, so when you play A sharp, it's got to be A sharp or B flat on the chromatic scale. It has to be 1, 2, bottom side. Okay, 1, 2, bottom side for A sharp or B flat. When it comes time to play F sharp on the alto saxophone and you're playing a chromatic scale, it's really important that you play 1, 2, 3, 1, and the fork F sharp or alternate F sharp or side F sharp, whatever you want to call it. All right, you got to play this F sharp. Because if you play first finger F and then you go over to F sharp, you might accidentally get a blip of an E or a G if you're not swift with your fingerings. Here it is in slow motion. F to F sharp, doing crossover F sharp with the middle finger F sharp. Or you don't want to get that intermediary sound between F and F sharp. Okay, you don't want to get that blip of a G or an E because you got sluggish crossover fingerings. So the best F sharp to use when playing a chromatic scale is 1, 2, 3, 1, and this side F sharp, fork F sharp, or alternate F sharp on the alto sax. So those are all the fingerings you need to know. So let's start descending. So we have G, high G, octave key, 1, 2, 3. Then G flat, which is octave key 1, 2, 3, 1, and the alternate F sharp key. You can also call it alternate G flat or fork G flat. It's the same thing. Okay. After G flat is F, octave key 1, 2, 3, 1. Then E, you already know what E is. E flat. E flat is octave key. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And the pinky key closest to your ring finger. Followed by D. Then D flat, which is open, same as C sharp. So you can call it open C sharp or open D flat. Then C. B. Okay. And then B flat, 1, 2, bottom side. 1, 2, bottom side key. Okay, B flat. Then A, 1, 2. A flat, 1, 2, 3, and the pinky. And then A flat, after A flat is G, 1, 2, 3. All right, so those are the fingerings for the chromatic scale starting on G. Now you're probably realizing, hey, there are two, there's the same fingering for two note names, like A flat and G sharp. Okay, these are your enharmonics. Remember your enharmonic equivalents from the first video? Okay, these are your enharmonics. So A flat and G sharp are the same fingering. A sharp and B flat, 1, 2 bottom side. A sharp and B flat are the same fingering. Open C sharp or D flat, that's the same fingering. D sharp, E flat, octave key 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the pinky key. Okay, same fingering. And then G flat or F sharp and G flat. Okay, same fingerings. Those are your enharmonic equivalents. Make sure you really know your enharmonic equivalents when learning your chromatic scale. So here is the 1 octave chromatic scale starting on G. 1, 2, 3. That was your 1 octave chromatic scale starting on G. It's really important that you have your scale sheet out and you're reading it one note at a time. Okay, you're not losing your place. You're not confusing what the note names are. Okay, make sure you're reading the note names carefully, and also make sure that you really understand your enharmonic equivalents. Because I can't tell you how many times I get students that think that A sharp and A flat are the same thing. They're not the same thing. Okay, so make sure you really understand your enharmonic equivalents. If you need to, go ahead and pause and rewind and replay as many times as you need to really fully understand how I play this chromatic scale, because the worst thing I think you can do is assume and learn the chromatic scale incorrectly. And it's really hard to unlearn something that you really, spend a lot of time doing. So please make sure you're really taking care of this scale and taking care of how you're reading the notes on the sheet music and the handout that's provided. If you have any questions, send me a message on Schoology or send me a message through our district email. Please do not leave a comment in the comment section below. Now, if you're not one of my students in my band program, then yes, and you have a question, please leave a comment, leave a question in the comments. That's the chromatic scale. And 1, 2, 3.